Hey there, Parker Reed here, and welcome to PR Media, your home for everything movies and music through my eyes. And today we have a review of the two new 4K catalog titles, Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. The Sherlock Holmes films came out in 2009 and 2011 respectively, and there also is set to be a third film in the franchise next year. It stars Robert Downey Jr. in the titular Sherlock Holmes role, and his sidekick John Watson, played by Jude Law. Prior to about a couple nights ago, I had never seen these two movies. I'm not the biggest Sherlock Holmes fan, not a big fan of the whole detective mystery genre, but when they came out in 4K, I was like, okay, there might be some merit to these titles. And upon watching them for the first time, they're decent kind of generic action films with a little bit of detective work. They weren't incredibly enticing from a mystery standpoint, and the first movie especially had leaned more on mystical elements that were debunked by the end of it. And Rachel McAdams is good in these movies as well, but overall they were pretty weak and leaned heavily on the charisma of Robert Downey Jr. to carry them along. I wouldn't rewatch them anytime soon, I don't believe, and I definitely like the second one more. It builds on the mythology of Sherlock Holmes a bit more and kind of cuts out the fluff that the first one did, as it was serving as more of an origin story. But should you pick these movies up? That's what we're going to look at here, so let's take a deeper look. Alright, for the 4K transfers of Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes A Game of Shadows, we got these brand new slipcovers here, which pair well together, and they look pretty sleek, albeit a little bit generic, but we'll take what we can get here. On the back, we just got some generic info and some shots from the films, and they both come with these great slipcovers. We love good glossy slipcovers here. And on the inside of the original 2009, we got this. We got no disc art, which is a little bit disappointing. Got a download code here, so if you want to grab that, feel free. And then we have a Blu-ray disc with no artwork either. Same story with the Game of Shadows. We got the same front and back cover art as the slipcover. And then we got another generic looking 4K disc with no art. And if you want the code, feel free to steal it and go and grab it. I'm not going to use it. And we got a Blu-ray disc as well, so that's what you get, some pretty bare bones releases. Both these films feature a 5.1 DTS audio track as well as being restored in 4K. And honestly, the 4K image on this was not very good at all. The first movie looked okay, it was full screen, and the full screen, it looked like a pretty good Blu-ray. It didn't even look like 4K. The second movie goes down to widescreen and it looks a lot better, admittingly. But I had to check the disc in the player when I was watching the first movie to make sure I was watching the 4K disc and not the Blu-ray disc, because it just didn't look good at all. It looked like an average Blu-ray. I was not impressed from a visual standpoint with the first one especially, but A Game of Shadows was admittedly a lot better. Still not like a standout 4K release, but it looked better than the Blu-ray copy did. Part of that can be attributed to the fact that their cinematography leans heavily on grays and deep blues, so the colors won't pop as much as it would on a movie like Aladdin from last year. I was hoping these visuals were really going to pop off the screen, but both movies, it was really disappointing. And from an audio perspective, the first movie was pretty freaking bad. I mean, the dialogue was almost inaudible at times. I had to really listen and turn up my sound system to even hear the dialogue during certain points. I was really unimpressed with the audio in the first movie. Second movie was average. It was a little bit loud as far as the sound effects go, and the dialogue could have been a little bit louder. But overall, the transfer on the second movie is a lot better than the original 2009 film. Overall, from audio-visual standpoint, these movies were not standouts on 4K, and I don't know why they got releases, to be honest. They're not exactly popping up in the cultural zeitgeist right now. But should you pick them up? Let's see. So if you wanted to pick up Sherlock Holmes or Sherlock Holmes A Game of Shadows, you could get them on Blu-ray for $5 each, or in a double pack for $10, or you can pay $25 each for these, so $50. So are these worth 5 times the Blu-ray? Hell no, fuck no, hell no, fuck no. These are priced way too high. I would be hard pressed to tell you to buy these at $15, let alone $25. So don't pick up Sherlock Holmes or Sherlock Holmes A Game of Shadows unless you can get them for $5 or $10 on 4K. It's a waste of your time and money. The movies are average at best. The transfers aren't good at all, and the audio isn't very good either. And it pains me to say this because I like Robert Downey Jr. a lot, but I would pass on Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes A Game of Shadows on 4K. Sorry. So what do you think of the new Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes A Game of Shadows 4K transfers? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching PR Media. My name is Parker Reed. Keep supporting physical media, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Are we in trouble?
Watson, you have the grand gift of silence. Makes you quite invaluable as a companion. Ah!